The repair dock drifted at the edge of the neutral corridor, wide and bright, like a city made of steel and light. Ships from many worlds moved around it in slow lines. Some were long and sharp, built for war. Some were round and heavy, built for trade. All of them came for the same reason. They were broken, and they trusted human hands to fix them. Kang Jisoo stood on the main control deck and watched the traffic flow. He did not rush. He did not shout. His voice stayed calm as he gave short orders to his team. The dock had rules, and every ship followed them, no matter how powerful or proud their people were. One ship entered at a time. No weapons stayed active. No lies were accepted. Many aliens found this strange. Some found it insulting. But they still came. The dock had been built long ago, back when humans were not strong in space. Back then, they had no great fleets and no wide empire. They only had skill and patience. They learned how machines failed, not just how they worked. Every crash, every fire, every lost station had taught them something. That knowledge lived in places like this dock. A warning light blinked on the wall. A large warship was approaching, its hull torn and dark. Kang Jisoo leaned forward slightly. He recognized the ship type. It belonged to a fleet that rarely asked for help. Rin Kale stood on the bridge of his ship and looked at the human dock with mixed feelings. His people valued strength and pride. Asking for help was not easy. But half his engines were dead, and the last battle had burned through systems. His own engineers could not understand anymore. His ship was guided into position by small human craft. They moved with care, like hands guiding a wounded animal. No weapons aimed at him. No threats were spoken. When the ship locked into place, a human voice came through the channel. It was calm and clear. Kang Jisoo welcomed Rin Kale without raising his voice. He asked only 3 things. The ship must power down its weapons. The crew must follow dock safety rules. Payment would be discussed after the work began. Rin Kale agreed. He felt uneasy, but also relieved. Inside the dock, Han Doyun was already moving. He walked across a platform with tools hanging from his belt. His hair was messy, and his uniform was stained with oil. He did not look like someone trusted by fleets across the stars. But he had fixed things others said could not be fixed. Park Era followed him, her tablet glowing with data pulled from alien systems. She frowned slightly, not in fear, but in thought. This design does not match any standard, she said. Han Doyun smiled faintly. That just means it will be fun. They reached the damaged section of the alien ship. The metal was warped and cracked. Energy burns had melted layers together. Most species would have cut the section away and replaced it. Humans did not always do that. Sometimes replacement caused more harm. Han Doyun placed his hand on the hull. He felt the vibration, the heat, the weak points. He listened, not with ears, but with experience. Across the dock, more ships arrived. Too many. Alarms stayed silent, but the control screens filled with alerts. Kang Jisoo noticed the pattern. All the ships showed similar damage. Not from weapons, but from space itself. Something had happened in the corridor. Lee Sinha moved quickly between stations, redirecting crews and supplies. Her voice was soft, but people listened. She knew where everything was and where it needed to go. Without her, the dock would fall into chaos. Visha Tal, the navigator from Rin Kale's ship, watched the humans work. She had expected fear. She had expected distance. Instead, humans stepped inside unstable sections without hesitation. They spoke calmly, even joked. She asked one of the technicians why they were not afraid. The technician shrugged and said that fear was normal. But stopping work would not fix anything. That answer stayed with her. Kang Jisoo studied long-range sensors. He did not like what he saw. The damage patterns suggested a wave of energy that bent space in short pulses. Not a weapon used by any known power. He opened a channel to all docked ships. He spoke slowly and clearly. He explained the situation and asked for patience. No promises were made. Only effort. No ship left. Ri and Kale watched this from his bridge. His own people would have demanded answers or threatened force. The humans did neither. They simply worked harder. Han Do-yeon crawled inside a narrow access tunnel. Sparks flew as he cut and rewired systems that had no human names. He did not need names. He understood flow, pressure, and stress. Machines, no matter the species, shared the same truths. Park Era monitored the systems. When one line failed, she rerouted power in a way the alien engineers had never tried. It was risky. It worked. A low hum spread through the ship. Dead lights turned on. Beshatal felt her breath catch. Against all predictions, the core stabilized. Across the dock, similar moments happened again and again. Ships that had been written off began to wake. Engines whispered back to life. Control systems responded. Kang Jisoo allowed himself one small breath of relief. But he knew this was only the beginning. Whatever had damaged these ships was still out there. He looked at the dock, at the humans and aliens working side by side. This place was more than metal and machines. It was a promise. The promise that no one was abandoned, while something could still be repaired. Far beyond the dock, space rippled again, unseen. And soon, it would test that promise. The dock grew louder as more ships arrived. The calm order of before was replaced by constant motion. Lights flashed. Tools moved on rails. Human crews walked fast but did not panic. Every person knew their place, even when the work doubled. Han Do-yeon barely noticed the noise. He was deep inside an alien engine chamber, his boots locked to the floor by magnetic clamps. The space was tight and hot. Pipes crossed each other in strange angles. Symbols glowed on the walls, written in a language he could not read. It did not matter. Engines spoke in heat, vibration, and pressure, and those were languages he knew well. He placed a sensor on the core housing and watched the numbers jump. The readings were unstable, but not dead. That meant the engine still wanted to live. Park Era's voice came through his headset. She spoke slowly, choosing simple words so no meaning was lost. The power flow is uneven. Something is blocking the return line. Han Do-yeon nodded even though she could not see him. Not blocking, he said. It is scared. The system is shutting itself down to survive. That idea confused many alien engineers. Machines to humans were not just tools. They were systems under stress. If pushed too hard, they reacted like living things. Han Do-yeon opened a panel and found a section that had fused together from heat. Instead of cutting it away, he cooled it slowly, layer by layer. It took more time, but it kept the rest of the system safe. Across the dock, Park Era stood before a wide display. Data from many ships flowed into her screens. Each ship was different. Each problem looked unique, but patterns were forming. She noticed that the damage always appeared after short spikes in energy, like space itself had squeezed the ships. She shared this with Kang Jisoo. Kang Jisoo listened without interrupting. He trusted her judgment. If this happens again, Park Era said, some ships will not survive unless we change how we repair them. Kang Jisoo asked what she needed. Time, she answered, and permission to break some rules. He gave both. Lee Suna coordinated supply lines with steady focus. Metal plates, coolant packs, power cells, and food moved through the dock in endless flow. Alien crews watched in surprise as humans shared resources between ships without delay or argument. Some aliens tried to offer extra payment for faster service. Lee Sun-ha refused politely. Everyone waited their turn. That rule never changed. R.I. Kale left his ship and stepped onto the dock. This alone surprised his crew. A fleet captain rarely walked among workers. But he wanted to see the humans up close. He watched as a human technician patched a hull breach using parts from 3 different ships. None of the parts were made for that hull. Still, they fit. Rin Kale asked how this was possible. The technician replied that humans had spent generations fixing things they could not replace. Old ships, old stations, even old worlds. Waste was a luxury they never had. Vesha Tal followed Rin Kale, her eyes sharp. She studied how humans spoke to machines. They touched them. They listened. They waited when needed, and rushed only when danger demanded it. She realized that humans did not fight machines into working order. They worked with them. An alarm sounded suddenly. A sharp, clear tone. One of the newly arrived ships had lost containment. Its core was overheating fast. Alien crew members froze in fear. Their training said to evacuate. Their manuals said the ship was lost. Human crews moved toward the danger. Han Doyan was already climbing out of one tunnel and into another. He sealed his suit and entered the failing core section. Heat pressed against him like a wall. His breath came slow and steady. Park Era rerouted power from 3 other ships to support cooling systems. It was risky. If she failed, more ships would be damaged. She accepted that risk. Kong Jisoo ordered partial lockdowns, but he did not pull people back. He trusted their judgment. Inside the core chamber, Han Doyan saw the problem clearly. The core was not breaking apart. It was misaligned. The energy wave from the corridor had twisted it just enough to cause runaway heat. Instead of shutting the core down fully, he adjusted its angle by a fraction. It was dangerous. One wrong move could end him. He remembered older docks, older failures. He remembered learning by losing things. He moved. The heat dropped. Park Era saw the numbers change and held her breath. When the core stabilized, she released it. A cheer rose from nearby crews, human and alien alike. The sound echoed through the dock. Rin Kale felt something shift inside him. His people believed power came from force, from weapons and fear. But here, power came from calm hands in dangerous places. The damaged ship was saved. Later, Vesha Tal approached Park Era. She asked why humans took such risks for ships that were not their own. Park Era answered simply, if one ship failed, others might fail too. Helping one was helping all. That logic was new to Vesha Tal. As the cycle of repairs continued, Kong Jisoo studied fresh sensor data. The energy pulses were repeating, slowly moving closer. Whatever caused them was still active. He sent warnings through the corridor. Some fleets turned away. Many did not. They stayed near the human dock, because when space itself became hostile, there was no safer place than where humans rebuilt the impossible. Far away, another ripple passed through the dark. The dock lights flickered, just for a moment, and then the work continued. The corridor stayed quiet for a short time, but the quiet felt heavy. Kong Jisoo sensed it from the control deck. Ships were repaired, engines were stable, and crews rested in shifts. Still, his eyes kept returning to the sensor wall. Patterns moved slowly, like shadows underwater. Reports arrived from nearby regions. Other docks had refused damaged ships. Some demanded high payment. Some closed their gates out of fear. Those ships changed course and came to the human dock instead. The lines grew longer. Lee Suna adjusted schedules again and again. She cut rest times by minutes, never hours. She moved crews between tasks with care. No one collapsed. No one was pushed beyond what they could give. The dock ran on balance, not force. I and Kale held meetings with captains from other fleets. Many were nervous. Supplies were running low. Some wanted to leave before the corridor became worse. Others argued that leaving would mean death if engines failed again. Rin Kale spoke calmly. He said the humans had not failed them yet. That mattered more than fear. Vesha Tal listened closely. She had begun to notice small things. Humans repaired alien ships without asking for control. They did not install locks or hidden systems. They left access open and explained what they had done. Trust was given first, not demanded. Park Era worked with little sleep. She studied the energy waves again and again. She compared damage reports from every ship. A clear truth formed. The waves were not random. She brought her findings to Kang Jisoo. The waves followed a pattern, slow but steady, like a moving storm. At its center was something massive, bending space as it traveled. If it reaches the dock, Park Era said, even we may not hold. Kang Jisoo nodded. He did not hide this truth. He shared it with the dock teams and with the fleets. Panic did not follow. Instead, crews asked what needed to be done. Han Do-yeon proposed an idea that surprised many. Instead of fully repairing ships to perfect condition, he suggested temporary strengthening, reinforced systems, flexible connections, ships that could bend instead of break. This will not make them beautiful, he said, but they will survive. Some alien engineers objected. Their designs valued symmetry and perfection. Han Do-yeon answered simply that perfection shattered under stress. Kang Jisoo approved the plan. Work changed across the dock. Repairs became fast and rough, but smart. Extra layers were added. Systems were given room to move. Park Era rewrote control logic to allow manual override in moments of danger. Vesha Tal helped translate these changes to alien crews. For the first time, she worked beside humans, not just watched them. Then the rumors arrived. A distant alien council sent warnings. They claimed humans were altering ships for control. They said the dock was becoming a trap. Some fleets received orders to leave at once. The message spread fast. Rin Kale faced a hard choice. Obey his counsel or stay. He walked the dock one last time before deciding. He saw human workers sleeping against walls between shifts. He saw aliens sharing food with humans. He saw children of dock families drawing ships on the floor. This was not a trap. Rin Kale spoke publicly. He stated that his fleet would stay. He said the humans had earned trust through action, not words. Other captains followed. The alien council responded with anger. They cut support and threatened punishment. The fleets near the dock were now alone. Kang Jisoo did not comment on politics. He focused on readiness. Sensors flared. The storm arrived faster than expected. Space twisted. Light bent. Ships shook as if caught in a silent wave. Han Do-yeon was inside a support ring when the first pulse hit. He felt the structure flex, but it held. The temporary reinforcements worked. Park Era watched systems spike and fall, spike and fall. She adjusted limits on the fly, trusting human instincts more than alien code. Lee Suna locked supply containers and rerouted power, so no section failed alone. The dock groaned, but it did not break. Some ships at the edge of the formation were not strong enough. Hulls cracked. Systems failed. Human crews moved toward them immediately. Kang Jisoo gave one order only. No ship was to be abandoned while movement was still possible. Rin Kale's ship took damage again. Vesha Tal struggled to hold navigation as controls lagged. Then a human signal cut through, offering manual guidance from the dock. She accepted. Together, human and alien hands guided the ship into safety. The storm passed slowly. When it finally moved on, silence returned. Not the heavy silence from before, but a tired one. Ships drifted, damaged but alive. The dock lights stayed on. Crews gathered where they could. Some sat, some leaned against rails. Some simply breathed. Veshatal realized something then. The humans had not protected the dock because it was theirs. They had protected it because it protected others. That was the heart of it. Kong Jisu looked over the damage reports. Losses were limited. Lives were saved, but the storm was moving deeper into the corridor. This was not over. He sent a message outward, not a demand, not a threat. A simple statement. Human docks remain open. Across the stars, fleets listened, and they began to change course. The storm did not return at once. Instead, something worse followed. Long-range sensors began to pick up movement beyond the corridor. Not natural waves this time, but ships. Many of them. They moved in tight formation and did not answer any calls. Kang Jisu studied the data in silence. These ships had been seen before, on the edge of known space. They did not trade. They did not ask for passage. They took what they needed from broken places. They were coming toward the dock. The news spread fast. Fear rose among alien crews. Their ships were still weak. Weapon systems were damaged or offline. Leaving was not an option. Some captains asked Kang Jisu what humans planned to do. He answered honestly. The dock was not a war station. It had no great weapons. But it had tools, power, and people who knew how to use both. That would have to be enough. Han Doyan listened to the reports while tightening a brace on a support arm. He wiped sweat from his face and laughed quietly. They always come for broken things, he said. They think broken means helpless. Park Era stood beside him. She had already begun to change systems again. Repair cranes were given new movement limits. Energy shields were reconfigured to cover open space, not just hulls. We can turn the dock, she said. Not fast, but enough. Lee Suna redirected power and supplies without waiting for orders. Welding drones became mobile cover. Cargo containers were sealed and stacked into barriers. Everything had a second purpose. Alien crews watched in disbelief as the dock changed shape. Rin, Kale gathered captains once more. There was no command structure among them, no shared doctrine. Normally, this would mean chaos. Kang Jisu joined the meeting and spoke plainly. Humans would coordinate defense, but no ship would be forced to fight. Any vessel that could move was free to leave. No ship left. Veshatal felt something tighten in her chest. This was not fear. It was resolve, spreading from ship to ship. The hostile fleet entered sensor range. Their ships were dark and heavy, built to crush resistance. They did not slow down. The first shots came without warning. Energy tore through space and struck the outer edge of the dock. Shields flared and bent but held. Park Era adjusted power flow in real time. She allowed some systems to overload for seconds at a time, then cut them back before failure. It was dangerous, but it worked. Han Doyan led teams outside the dock, repairing damage while the battle continued. Sparks and debris flew around them. He shouted instructions and laughed when a panel snapped back into place. This is just another bad day, he told his crew. Keep working. Alien ships joined the defense one by one. Weapons that barely functioned fired anyway. Human targeting data flowed freely, shared without restriction. Rin Kale's ship took position near the dock, using its damaged hull as partial cover. Veshatal guided it with steady hands, trusting the human signals feeding her console. The attackers seemed confused. Their scans showed no central weapon, no command ship, no clear weakness to strike. They pushed closer. Then the dock responded. Repair arms swung out, not to strike, but to block. Shielded cranes intercepted incoming fire. Welders sealed breaches even as shots landed. Cargo containers burst open, releasing clouds of reflective material that scattered enemy sensors. This was not a fortress built for war. It was a place built to endure. The hostile fleet focused fire on one alien ship drifting near the edge. Its engines failed completely. Kang Jisoo saw the data and made a choice. He ordered all nearby systems to support that ship. Power drained from the dock. Lights dimmed. Shields weakened. Lee Soon-ho warned him of the risk. He nodded. "If we let one fall," he said, "we all fall later." Human crews launched tethers and pushed through fire. Han Do-yeon himself locked the line onto the drifting hull. His suit shook as impacts struck nearby. Park Era rerouted life. Support to keep the alien crew alive. The ship was pulled back. The attackers hesitated. They had expected fear. They had expected retreat. Instead, they saw sacrifice without command. Ein Kale gave the order to advance. Alien ships surged forward together, not in perfect lines, but in shared purpose. Damaged weapons fired. Human data guided every shot. The hostile fleet began to break formation. When they finally withdrew, they did so fast, leaving wreckage behind. Silence returned once more. The dock was scarred. Arms were bent. Hulls were blackened. But it still stood. Crews moved through smoke and sparks, checking the injured, repairing again. Veshatal watched humans work, even after the danger passed. No cheering. No claims of victory. Just hands moving to fix what was broken. Ein Kale understood then why fleets favored this place, not because it was safe, but because it refused to give up on anyone. Kang Jisoo stood on the control deck, exhausted. He knew this battle would change things. Others would hear of it, and they would come. The heart of humanity had been seen, and it was still beating. The days after the battle were quiet in a different way. No alarms sounded. No enemy signals appeared. The dock drifted as it always had, steady against the dark. Yet everything felt changed. Damage reports filled the systems. Arms needed straightening. Hull plates needed replacing. Power lines needed careful repair. Human crews returned to their normal work without complaint. They did not speak of the battle unless asked. Alien crews watched and helped. Ein Kale walk the dock again. This time, many greeted him by name. Not with ceremony, but with small nods and brief smiles. He returned them the same way. His ship was almost fully repaired now. Stronger than before, but not perfect. He had chosen to keep some of the flexible systems the humans installed. They felt honest. Veshatal worked beside Park Era at a shared console. They compared data and adjusted systems together. Veshatal no longer questioned human methods. She asked how to learn them. Park Era answered that learning came from mistakes. Humans made many. That was how they improved. Messages arrived from across known space. Fleets that had heard of the battle asked permission to dock. Some brought damaged ships. Some brought supplies. Some simply wanted to close. Kang Jisoo answered every request the same way. The dock was open. Rules were simple. Help would be given. Lee Soon-ho expanded schedules and storage with careful planning. New platforms were assembled. Temporary structures became permanent. The dock grew, not in size alone, but in purpose. A delegation arrived from a distant alien council. Their tone was cautious now. They asked questions instead of making demands. They wanted to know how humans coordinated so many species without command chains. Kang Jisoo explained that humans trusted systems more than authority. Clear rules. Shared information. Responsibility placed close to the work. The council representatives listened. Some stayed. Han Do-yun supervised final tests on the dock's modified structures. He was tired, but satisfied. The dock had survived something it was never designed to face. That meant it was stronger than design. Memorial was held in a quiet section of the dock. Names were read. Not many. Fewer than expected. Humans and aliens stood together in silence. Afterward, work resumed. Ein Kale met Kang Jisoo privately. He thanked him, not as a captain to a dockmaster, but as one leader to another. He admitted that his people would have left broken ships behind. Kang Jisoo said humans once did the same. Long ago, they had learned. Weeks passed. The energy storm moved on. The hostile fleet did not return. Trade resumed along new routes that curved closer to the human dock. Other species began building repair stations of their own. They copied human designs, but found they could not copy the heart of them so easily. Their docks worked. They did not endure when trouble came. Fleets still turned toward human space. Visha Tal recorded her observations for her people. She wrote that human strength did not come from weapons or numbers. It came from a refusal to waste what could still be saved. Ships, lives, trust. Park. Era read the report later and smiled. One cycle. A small alien vessel arrived with damage too severe to justify repair by any economic model. Its crew waited quietly, expecting refusal. Kang Jisoo approved the work. Han Do-yun fixed the ship with parts that barely matched. Lee Suna found spare supplies. Park Era tuned systems that should not have worked together. The ship left whole. The crew cried. Word spread. Again. Ryan Kale's fleet prepared to depart at last. They were needed elsewhere. Before leaving, Rin Kale addressed the dock crews. He did not promise alliance or obedience. He promised return. That promise mattered. As the fleet departed, the dock returned to its rhythm. Ships arrived. Ships left. Tools moved. Hands worked. Kang Jisoo stood alone for a moment on the control deck. He looked at the traffic lines, the lights, the slow movement of living machines. Humanity did not rule this place. It supported it. He thought of old stories from before spaceflight about hearts and circulation. How strength came from movement, repair, and balance. This dock was that heart. Not loud. Not proud. Just steady. Far away. New conflicts would rise. New storms would form. Weapons would be built and broken. And when they failed, fleets would remember where survival had waited for them. Not behind the biggest guns, but beneath patient lights, where humans repaired the universe, one broken thing at a time.